Okay, so if you've been paying attention to the comment sections of my video, there has been somewhat of a comment war about the way that I do my introductions. Someone hashtagged ear bleeding. Someone said I woke up their child. Someone even said that I almost got them in a car accident. So, fine. You guys win. And welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings, to the WeAreChange Daily News Show, where we break down news that, of course, you're not supposed to know about. And holy cannoli, of course, today was a massive news blitz, and we're going to be talking about the UN General Assembly, Hillary Clinton finally being investigated, planned obsolescence with Apple, and the push for mass surveillance because, you know, the government loves you. And of course, the biggest news of today is the United Nations General Assembly holding a vote denouncing the decision by the U.S. government to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. This controversial move happened a few weeks ago, and of course, to many, undermines the peace process in the region. And today, 128 countries voted and adopted a resolution calling on the United States to reverse its decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. A strong message by the international community, including major U.S. allies. But hey, at least 9 countries voted with Israel in the United States, and those countries were Guatemala, Honduras, the Marshall Islands, Micronesia, never heard of that place, Nauru, Togo, and Palau. Of course, countries that either want or get foreign aid from the United States, which Donald Trump actually threatened to cut to any country who voted against him and Israel. He said himself today that he was watching the vote very closely and said that the United States would save a lot of money by cutting off foreign aid to these countries that didn't vote in favor of them. President of Turkey responded and urged the world not to be bought by Donald Trump's dollars in the Jerusalem vote. And of course, the United States, after losing this major decision in a landslide, decided to respond with UN Ambassador Niki Haley scolding the world for this Israel vote and vowing retribution. Now, I'll be honest here. I'm kind of enjoying this show. Cutting foreign aid, defunding the United Nations. I pretty much stand where U.S. Senator Rand Paul stands and says, yeah, let's cut off all foreign aid, including to Israel, which Donald Trump will never do. And reporting on this specific story actually puts me in a very hard spot. Because on one hand, I don't want to stand with Obama's former National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, who said that the U.S. will lose its moral authority abroad because of this vote, because she has no morals to stand on when she was a part of the Obama administration, either starting or making the wars worse in Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. And I definitely don't stand with the United Nations that previously ran an underage child sex slavering that they were never held accountable for. And on the other hand, there does deserve to be some fair criticism when it comes to Donald Trump's foreign policy, especially in the Middle East. Especially with building close alliances with countries like Saudi Arabia that just executed 10 women in Yemen, cold-heartedly supporting Israel, and even being lobbied successfully by Israel, as uncovered through the Russian Gate investigation, where we found out that Jared Kushner was following the orders of Prime Minister Netanyahu and doing what he was told with obvious clear colluding, usurping the United States' sovereignty and benefits in order to help another country. That also is not making the situation any better inside of the Middle East. And the same could be said for the U.S. involvement in that entire region. That is only making the situation worse for everyone. Like, as we found out yesterday, that now over 9,000 civilians have been killed in the Battle of Mosul from 2016 to 2017. And of course, with an upsurge of civilian deaths, we of course see a correlation in the rise of extremism afterwards. The United States military also, very interestingly today, just announced that they have ground forces, boots on the ground in Yemen right now, with the U.S. military saying that they are targeting ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Now, this is where people need to pay attention, because at first, there's nothing disagreeable with that headline. But Newsweek, the same news organization that just ran this story, ran another story in April of this year, directly saying that Trump is inadvertently arming Al-Qaeda in Yemen. Now, if you didn't know, Yemen is involved in a proxy war between Iran and the Houthi rebels and Saudi Arabia and the Sunni rebels. The United States and the United Kingdom are a part of the Saudi-led coalition fighting alongside Saudi Arabia, along with the Sunnis who are connected with Al-Qaeda, trying to get rid of the Houthi rebels. This is why Donald Trump, when he first became president, personally ordered a raid that killed an 8-year-old American girl, who was an American citizen, with 13 other people, including a U.S. commando that died on the raid. And now in Yemen, just now, the number of cholera cases hit 1 million. 7 million people are on the brink of famine as the United States fights alongside Sunni-dominant Saudi Arabia in this meaningless, pointless proxy war. And this is mainly hidden from you. And this is not making America great again. So isn't training the rebels in Syria, which Donald Trump is continuing. And right now, we also just found out, as the Syrian army is rolling into cities in Syria that used to be captured by ISIS, they are mainly finding U.S. weapons that ISIS was fighting with, alongside, of course, Israeli and Saudi Arabian weapons. And if you remember, earlier this year, an ISIS commander that was arrested in Libya was exposed as an Israeli Mossad agent. And ultimately, this whole war on terror, war on ISIS, is just a big lie. Terrorism and the rise of radical extremism has definitely worked in the favor of people politically and monetarily. There's a need for terrorism to keep the business going, to keep the military-industrial complex funded. And it's mainly this issue that, one, I think is extremely important, but two, one of the main reasons why I criticize Donald Trump and I'm not on the MAGA train, which of course is to my detriment, especially looking at the comment sections and feedback I get from everyone whenever I do criticize Donald Trump. But authority needs to be checked and held accountable, especially when it comes to grand matters like this that everyone is generally just ignoring. If you agree with me, definitely share this video to get the awareness out there, and if you disagree with me, let me know why in the comment section below. But moving forward, in some actual good news, we are now finding out that finally Hillary Clinton is in the crosshairs of a DOJ investigation looking into the Uranium 1 deal. This is, of course, when Russian agents and spies successfully infiltrated Hillary Clinton, tried to sway her to get a favorable vote by the then Secretary of State. Those spies were caught by the FBI. Hillary Clinton made sure that they got sent back to Moscow, and then the Clinton Foundation got a whole bunch of money for approving these deals by the people who benefited from them. Yeah, you know that case? Well, finally, the DOJ under the Trump administration is finally looking into it. And now in other old, worn out, useless Orwellian tool news, we of course finally have confirmation on something I've been saying for a very long time and been criticized for, that Apple secretly was throttling the performance of older iPhones in their planned obsolescence scheme to sell you more useless crap that you don't need so they get a bigger profit. And if you don't know what planned obsolescence is, definitely take a look at it, especially before you do your Christmas shopping. And now in other Orwellian Big Brother spying news, yesterday we found out that Congress was actually planning to sneak an expansion of mass surveillance into the law, which U.S. Senator Rand Paul threatened to filibuster, which would allow the U.S. government to collect data on foreign targets without a warrant and would spy on American citizens. And surprisingly, Congress postponed the vote, and some believe will still try to sneak it into the law sometime this week. You know, mainly because the government wants to see everything you're doing, every aspect of your life, because they want to protect you and take care of you. And that's why life expectancy in the United States is down for the second year in a row. This is mainly due to our corrupt medical system and the expanded use of dangerous pharmaceuticals like opioids, which as a result killed 63,600 Americans in 2016 alone because of drug overdoses. A 21% increase as doctors are just pimped out by the pharmaceutical industrial complex, throwing pills around like they're beads during Mardi Gras. And in some states, people are still sent to jail for seeking natural remedies to their problems. And that's because we have a system in place where it's not profitable to heal you or help you. And we don't focus on those things. We focus on the symptoms Or even worse, as we found out today, with the Department of Health and Human Services lifting a ban on funding research that focuses on making germs more lethal. And yeah, what could possibly go wrong with that? So yeah, that's the news for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You're not really supposed to enjoy it. I mean, at least you're informed now, right? Yeah, you're informed. At least you know what's going on in this world, unlike a lot of other people. Of course, I'm always looking forward to your wonderful comments in the section below. And oh yeah, we also have one last t-shirt that's going to be available until January 3rd on teesprings.com/WeAreChange. The other designs have expired, so they're no longer available, but I'm always looking for new t-shirts. And if you have some t-shirt ideas, definitely let me know on twitter.com/LukeWeAreChange, and I'll pay you, or I don't know, we'll work something out. Or maybe we'll just get a whole bunch of shirts. Whatever you want. I'm horrible at business, but we'll figure it out as we go along, like I do everything else. I love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more.